Hello, molecular biology. Welcome to your last video update for the course. Thanks so much for all of you who've been watching the video updates to help you stay on track and keep up with all your work. I hope you are doing well. Hopefully you're safe someplace and still healthy. And we really look forward to you coming back. I really do. So hopefully I'll see you, maybe not in summer, but in the fall semester if you're not graduating. We hope to have you back and that we'll get all through this together, okay? So let's go over this week. You're going to be looking at the cell cycle and cyclins and how they're regulated. So the cell cycle for the most part should be a review from Gen Bio and Genetics. You may want to review what happens at each stage, what's going on with the chromosomes, etc. Where I want you to focus is on the action of the cyclins. So cyclins are proteins. I want you to see how they're regulated because it's kind of interesting. Through translation, the cyclin concentration will increase, and then at some point they're going to be degraded through a ubiquitin process. And that is how their activity is regulated, is through concentration effects, basically. So how much cyclin you have there of the different types of cyclins. So there's several different types of cyclins that control each stage. The cyclins, they match up with a cyclin-dependent kinase. Kinases are proteins that will phosphorylate other proteins and start these different processes. So I really want you to focus on how do these cyclins work? How do they work with the cyclin-dependent kinases? And how did scientists figure this out? So you want to go back and look at some of the early experiments to try to figure how they figured out what the cyclins were, how they worked, how the concentration of the cyclins varied over the cell cycle, because that's kind of where they got their name from. They cycle in concentration. That's why they're called cyclins. The last part is on apoptosis and cancer. So you can listen to the apoptosis lecture just to get a good idea of what it does. You don't have to memorize any specifics about the apoptosis pathway. And then with cancer, we know a lot about cancer. You can review it. It's kind of the payoff for this course. How does a cell get so screwed up in its regulation that it then becomes so dangerous for the host? That's really what it is. And this class has all been about regulation of everything that's going on in the cell. Cancer cells basically just do their own thing. They don't respond to signals. They don't send out signals to others. They don't die when they're supposed to. Yeah. And it's really a fundamental kind of global dysfunction in regulation, which you would think would make the cell worse off. But actually, cancer cells are really good at living, which is why they're so dangerous. So look at it from that standpoint. How are cancer cells different from regular cells? What kind of regulation differences do we see, if any? Do they have any regulation? How do they compare to stem cells in the sense that cancer cells can derive from almost every type of cell and in theory can change into their own type of cell. So they have their own, what they call stem cell-ness. So that's where I want you to focus, is think about the big picture with these kind of topics, okay? Things that are due. Oh, sorry, I lost it. You have a smart work, the final chapters of smart work that's due. The lab final is published in the lab. And then we have another quiz, quiz 4, around April 16th. So you want to take a look at those. Now let's end on a piece of good news. I've decided to allow people who have an A, if you've earned an A in the class through turning in all these last assignments, you can skip the final. This is for all of our mental health, okay? For the rest of you, I think it is beneficial to take the final because you can still improve your grade, okay? So go ahead and email me if you'd like to take advantage of this. If you want to skip the final, let me know, and I can let you know what your final grade will look like, okay? So good luck. Take care of yourselves. Email me with questions as usual, and thanks again for having the grit to get through this situation, and I hope that you stay safe and healthy over the summer. Okay, take care.